And welcome back to the Weekly Tech Round with me, Jay.
And me, Karl.
And episode 239. It's Apple's big launch event of 2026, isn't it? This special event, which we had this week. And, well, didn't disappoint, did it?
No.
Didn't
disappoint. Yeah, some did. Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. But also with this week, so we're going to cover all the new announcements that Apple dropped this week. And there are quite a few to go through. Some of new surprises, some not so surprised, I should say. And some things are a bit like the sun. They come up in the morning and go down the evening. It's exactly the same every time, isn't it? But we'll get to that later. But also, we're going to talk... we're also going to talk about Nvidia's upcoming new PC processor, which we talked about a little while ago, but there's some new information has just come out on this. And Xbox new CEO Asha Sharma has announced Project Helix, which isn't quite what we thought it was going to be. In fact, it's quite odd to say the least. But more on that after things.
Yes.
So come on then, let's get straight into it. So Apple had this special event this week where they dropped a load of new products over a press release, didn't they? And a special event on Wednesday that was in London, New York, and somewhere else. What was the other place? There was another location, wasn't there, for it? I can't remember now. But
was it Singapore?
I think it may have been somewhere. I think it was somewhere in Asia, wasn't it? On that point.
Yeah. So we kicked off Monday, 2nd, didn't we? With
we did.
Same old. Well, we got a new iPad Air.
Ah, surprise!
And nothing's really changed. We got an upgrade from an M3 to an M4. Which Apple are claiming gives you a 2.3x speed up. There's not a lot to say here.
It's
quite got more memory. No, don't lie. We jumped from 8 gig of RAM to 12 gig of RAM.
12, yeah.
And we got the new chips from the phones, didn't we? So it's the first iPad with the new chips. We got the N1 wireless. The if you take the cellular, you can get the C1X modem, the faster one. Price is the same. $600 for the 11-inch starting price and $800 for the 13-inch. Did we get any new colours? No, same colours. And they still haven't upgraded that display, have they?
No, and you know what? I would say what's changed. Ultimately, yeah, you're right. The only thing that's really changed, because I can't really say the M3 to M4 is a massive leap. That was coming. We knew that was going to happen. That's standard play by Apple, isn't it? Every year.
It is.
CPU. The C1X and the M1, definitely. And the RAM's an interesting one, given the current constraints of cost of RAM at the minute. But perhaps is that more telling though around how they want to get more performance out of it and a better experience with iOS 26 or iPad 26.
But you're still the problem is you're still hamstrung by the OS
CPU. Yeah.
We'll talk about that when we get to the big announcement later, because it's the same price as that announcement, isn't it? And it's in hardware terms, it's a much more capable machine. But not in actually using it.
No.
Yeah, but we'll get to it. But
you're right.
It was your usual stuff, wasn't it? Your usual upgrade cycle, that new chip.
Nice
then you should happen to come with new modem and new wireless chip.
Yeah, look, I think it was a reasonable upgrade. It's still, let's be honest, the iPad Air is still a decent device, isn't it? I've got the iPad Pro 11-inch, and I look at the spec on this one, and I think to myself, God, this is far more powerful than my 11-inch M1 iPad Pro.
Yeah, it is.
And I think actually, you know what? Maybe I should have an iPad Air, but I don't. But then I look at it and I think, what am I doing on my iPad that actually is hammering the spec on it? Nothing. This would be overkill. But it's like you say, it's a nice device.
But what are you doing that's even taxing your Pro currently?
I don't know. Dual running Netflix and Disney Prime.
This is why I got my head around buying a new Pro. I had a Pro. I had the old one before the chassis change. I couldn't get my head around getting a new Pro for what I used it for. If I want to do anything serious, I'm not doing it on the iPad. So it's just a media device for me. Hence, I got the Mini.
And that's the other thing why I went to the 11-inch M1 the other year, a couple of years ago.
Because you had the larger one at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, I had the 12.9-inch. It was a great device, but it was just too big. And I wanted something smaller. I wanted something that would be easier to travel with. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, it's a perfect device for me. It's the perfect size screen for watching films on a plane, doing stuff with. I have taken the Folio keypad off it because that's just adding too much weight. It
was doubling the weight, wasn't it?
Doubling the weight on it, but yeah. But yeah, all in all, it isn't a bad device. But I guess if you're in the market for an upgrade, you haven't done one yet, the iPad Air definitely is a worthwhile investment, I would say, isn't it?
It is. It is. Another device that hasn't changed much. So we got the new 17E, didn't we?
Yes.
Some modest increases. Apple have doubled the base storage, haven't they? Up to, what's the starting storage here? 256.
256 now, yeah, instead of 128.
Yeah, same price, same 599 starting price. Doubled it to 256 storage. You've got the A19 chip. You've got the C1X modem, because was the C modem in the 16E? It was. That was the guinea pig, wasn't it? So you've got the newer X modem. Yeah. You got MagSafe finally, because it supported Qi charging before, did it, at 7.5 watts. You've now got MagSafe at 15 watt, or Qi 2, whatever we want to call it. No new design. It's exactly the same chassis though. It's the same 6.1 inch Super Retina XDR OLED. It's a new color. You got a soft pink, haven't you?
Yeah, I saw that. I was a bit
white and soft pink.
Too sure about it, but it looks alright actually.
Those rumors of getting dynamic island didn't come true. You just got the notch. That was about it though. So this was day one. There wasn't much to reveal, was there? It was just there you go. Here's a light refresh on those devices.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the 17E again is a budget phone, isn't it? That's probably not the right word. Entry level device, I'd probably argue. Entry level device. I mean, it's got that 48 megapixel Fusion camera on the back, so you get 4K Dolby Vision against it. I mean, it's not bad. Yeah. It's not a bad camera either, is it, on the device itself?
No, I mean, for $499 starting price, and now with 256 gig of storage, for a basic phone, I don't think you need to upgrade that, do you?
No, not at all. I think, if you were, let's say you had an older phone or one of the old SEs or something like that, this would seem like a real upgrade, wouldn't it?
Yeah, my parents have now got iPads, but they're still running Android phones. And they complain about issues. I was like, just get an iPhone. You used to have Android tablets and moan about those, and now you're happy with the iPad. Just pony up the money, get an iPhone.
What? Look, the bottom line is, we know this. It just works. For all of Apple's flaws and issues and costs, they work, don't they? And this is what I remember in the old days. When we were doing the old jobs we're doing, and people say, "Oh, your iPhone, why do you have an Android now?" Because I just want it to. You know what? I just want my phone to work and the apps to work, and not have to worry about.
I'm not saying it won't work on Android, but I think in my parents' case, they cheap out on it. They keep buying £200 or £300 Android phones, and they're buying
Xiaomi or something,
Yeah, Motorola, and I can't remember what they've had, but ones that were budget to start off with, proper budget. But then they're buying them multiple times. It's a fallacy, isn't it? You're buying it multiple times to try and get a better one that actually works. Just spend the money up front, and it would last them just as well.
Buy cheap, buy twice. Isn't that the one? Is that?
That's the one. I finally got them around that with the iPad, with the tablets. But yeah, more work to do on the actual phone part.
Get working.
Maybe this is the ideal one.
Maybe it is. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this is the way.
I'm gonna have to take him shopping, I think.
As long as it's not out of your pocket, surely,
No. They're paying. It's not out of my pocket. Definitely not. No.
Okay, so that's budget phone then. We know we got the iPhone 17e, so budget phone. Okay, all right then. Let's keep moving.
Something that isn't so budget next. Two items. No. Apple have, after I don't know how many years it's been, refreshed their studio displays, haven't they?
Oh, it's been a long time, isn't it?
It is, and this is a mixed bag. I think. Look, we got standard studio display, $1,600, which is a lot of money for a display, especially for a 27-inch. But it is a 5K, though it's only LCD. It's still the same 60 hertz, 600 nits, but you've now got Thunderbolt 5 ports on it and an improved 12 megabit webcam with desk view and better speakers. Okay, so that was just a modest refresh to its 27-inch. The polarizing one here is going to be the Studio Display XDR. So the old model was what was it, 32-inch, wasn't it? A 6K 32-inch display. That's now been replaced with another 27-inch. So you've got two 27-inch now. Why are they going so small? Okay, but it's a genuine better display by the look of it. It's a mini LED backlit. it's going to look a lot better than what the XDR does. 2000 nits peak brightness. It's got 120 Hz ProMotion, adaptive sync. It supports all the color stuff, P3 and Adobe RGB. It's got a stand in the box, so you don't have to spend another $1,000 for a stand.
Nice looking stand as well, I have to say. Very, very cool Apple engineering.
It's cheaper as well. It's not cheap. It's cheaper. It's $3,300. Rather than, what was it before? $5K before, was it? Something like that? It was a lot of money.
I look at this and I think to myself, who's buying these?
I think if you were doing, if you were in the film industry and you're doing color grading, yes, you might be using an Apple Studio or whatever. But are you going to be using the displays, or are you going to go to someone that makes these displays for a living, who makes color grading, film quality kind of displays?
Yeah, this is the question, right? If you're in that, there are companies out there that make very expensive, but as you say, purpose-built displays for the film industry for editing purposes and stuff like that, because having to meet all of that color configuration and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, so this, look, I imagine there are some design studios who have gone all on an Apple and have got a pair of Studio XDRs, on the desk.
27 inches too small, surely.
It is.
I questioned 32-inch when it came out for the price. I was like, that's a small display for $6,000, including a stand.
I do think it is. I do think it's too small.
32-inch should be the starting. I mean, who was it the other day that brought out the 56-inch one that looked amazing?
Oh my god! Yeah, I saw that. I can't remember which it was.
That's still cheaper than this.
Well, I mean, look, I've just spent the week at Mobile Congress, haven't I, in Barcelona, and we'll talk about it probably a bit more next week on that. A few things, but just as a quick byline on that, though, I went past the Lenovo stand, and I think I sent you a picture, didn't I, of one of their laptops that had a fold. One had a screen that folded out like in a, what do they call it? Not 6x9. What's the other? The portrait style.
21x9, isn't it? The ultra
21x9
wide screen, whatever you call it.
Yeah. Well, that was there was two, wasn't there? There was one that had like a portrait style screen, wasn't it?
Yes,
the one
that was expanded vertically, didn't it?
Yeah, that was, and then there was one that basically folded out to be a widescreen like laptop, which was just like, what the hell? But yeah, I thought to myself, who's playing them? But looking at this, it's like 27. Yeah, it's just too small. I've got two 27s either side of my 34-inch, and they're nice screens, right? And I could probably get away with using one every day, realistically. But the reality is, if you're doing the kind of work that Apple are suggesting you're doing on this, you're right. It's too small. Absolutely too small.
One interesting thing, though, but I can't see. Well, you can't see UK hospitals buying it, but apparently it comes with proper medical imaging presets and calibration for radiological diagnostics. So I presume put your X-rays up on it.
That's quite cool.
Calibrated for it. So yeah, I mean that's
hospital...
cool. I don't know what a proper medical display costs, though. I'm guessing more than the cost of the display at $3,300. But would hospitals do it?
Well, I was just going to say to you, no hospital in the UK could afford one.
But they're obviously paying a lot of money for their actual displays to look at X-rays.
Yeah, but I think it's a difference though when you're buying something from a medical imaging company, aren't you? That comes.
Yeah, and they have the whole pipeline for ordering sorted out.
Yeah,
to get Apple into that's probably a different proposition.
Yeah, as I say, opposed to Apple, who have come together with this amazing screen, but actually it's like, what is
that? Might be different in the US, but I suspect in the UK that's going nowhere.
I agree. Okay. Well, so we won't be buying one of those either, no?
No. Okay. One, I can't afford to spend that much on it. Two, not for a 27-inch screen. Anyway, moving on, though.
Is there something we could buy?
Is there something we could? No, you can't afford the MacBook Pros. Certainly not with a Max chip, anyway. Fully loaded. So, yeah, we got, was this Tuesday? We got the MacBook Pro with M5 Pro and M5 Max chips. Again, we knew it was not a lot changed. The M6 Pro, which is allegedly coming out later in the year, is the one with all the cool new stuff. Apparently, the redesign, the OLED, the touch, etc. So again, like the Air, this was just a modest bump, wasn't it? You got the new chips. The storage again was doubled. It starts at 1 terabyte rather than 512.
About time.
The Max starts at 2 terabyte. SSD speeds have doubled, topping out at 14.5 gigabytes a second. So that's clearly a PCIe Gen 5 SSD in there. You've got the N1 chip for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. A claimed 24 hours of battery life.
I kind of argue that. I think it's got 24 hours battery life if you've left it and you don't charge it up. But I mean, I know I can burn my M4 Pro out within a few hours if I'm working on stuff heavily.
I'm not having that problem with the Air. I must admit, I'm very impressed with the Air.
It is don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting for a second that it runs out quickly. I just meant as in I can burn it down a few hours.
But these ones are always that 24 hours battery life is streaming a video.
Yeah, of course.
Probably on the lowest brightness setting for the display.
But like you say, not massive change here. Just an upgrade in the chips in the underlying storage
and the price
buses and the and the price.
They've jumped a fair bit. So the 14-inch now starts at $2,200, and it was $2,000. So it's gone by $200. They've all gone up by $200. And I suspect that's the RAM AI problem. Yes, but you can top that out. I think at about £8,000 for an M5 Max, fully loaded with 128 gig of RAM or unified RAM and 8 terabytes of storage and all the bells and whistles.
I do remember us doing this, having this conversation previously. I can't remember if it was on one of the MacBooks or I think it might have been one of the MacBooks or the Mac Studio at the time, or the Mac Mini.
Yeah.
And we basically dumped one of them out to similar sort of stuff. And it's a lot of cash, isn't it? When you think about it, I'd love to know. I'd love to meet somebody that's got a fully tricked out MacBook.
See, this strikes me. If you've gone for a 16-inch M5 Max, a fully tricked out, that's a mobile workstation, isn't it? That's not a laptop anymore. You're doing some serious work on the road on that. Now, maybe you're in the film industry. Maybe you're doing seismology and doing calculations on the fly for stuff, but it's some serious processing power.
And you're running a local LLMs, not on a Mac Mini, but on a MacBook. And you're right.
Yeah. So those chips, though, talking of them, a bit more detail though on the Pro and the M5, and it looks like it is what we were talking about, where it's the same chip, isn't it? Or it's the same chips, plural.
That's the key. That's definitely the key point there, isn't it? Chips.
Exactly. They're calling it the fusion architecture, which really kind of tells you what that is. It's not a single die anymore, is it? It's very much they've taken a leaf out of of AMD's playbook, and we've got multiple chiplets now. I think it's only 2, isn't it? It's 2 chiplets.
Yeah, that's right.
Within the SoC there. But it's a way for them to scale that performance beyond that single die, what it can achieve, because it was getting huge, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they've got these. They've renamed it, haven't they? So instead of having say the performance and efficiency, what do they call it? Super core, wasn't it?
We now have super cores and performance cores for their core types. So on the new both chips have 18 core CPUs, up from 14, and they both consist of 6 super cores and 12 performance cores. The difference between the Pro and the Max is really the GPU, isn't it?
Yes, 40-core GPU, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly.
Or 32
20
core,
20 cores in the M5 Pro up to 40 cores in the M5 Max, and with a unified memory. But the bandwidth has jumped a lot as well. Actually, it's gone from it's 307 gigabytes a second on the Pro models, up to 614 gig a second on the M5 Max. Which I remember when the first Maxes came out, they were doing 400, weren't they? I think that number rings a bell. So it's still quite an increase in bandwidth there. And they've got the what do you call it? The new the AI chips are built into each GPU core.
That's right. The neural, the capabilities. Yeah.
Yes, they put the neural accelerators into GPU cores as well as having an NPU.
Look, let's be honest here. These are impressive bits of silicon. There's no denying that.
Yep.
Very powerful chips. I mean, you've got to be doing something here to really hammer these. Like I say, I've got the M4 Pro in my MacBook. And that's a brilliant machine. You've got the M4 in your Air, haven't you? Which is different, obviously different.
Yeah, I've got the M4, the standard one. I went for the 10 GPU one.
But again, I'm imagining you've not come up against anything yet where you've got a performance issue, I suspect.
No. Actually, what I meant to say about the Air I was totting up just because, what would an M5 equivalent cost me? It would cost me less than what M4 was.
That's
so I went for
crazy.
the M4 with, I went for the 13 inch. I went 24 gig of RAM, 512 SSD, and the 10 core GPU. But now because well, the MacBook Air has gone up by well, we haven't talked about it yet, but it has gone up by $100 starting price.
Yeah.
It's basically actually would cost me $100 less for the same configuration. So
Crazy.
I don't know, but talking about the Air hasn't really changed. It has had, as I mentioned, that $100 price increase. It's now starting at $1,100, but you do start at 512 storage rather than 256. That's about it. That's the only change. Other than like all the others, you've got the M5 chip, you've got the N1 chip. There's no modem option on here as of yet. I've still not seen a modem option in a Mac, which would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I look at this. I still think, and I kind of keep kicking myself. I wish I'd gone for that nano texture glass that is available on this. It's also available on the XDR display. I kind of keep hearing so many things about it. It's the only thing I kind of regret on my MacBook is that, mine's got the 24. Mine's basically the M5 equivalent. I've got the M4 Pro standard one, so this again similar equivalent chipset as 24 gig of RAM and 1 terabyte, but. They are such good machines, aren't they? Really are good machines.
They are.
I don't see the need to upgrade mine at the moment. I mean, I went for M1 to M4, so in that basis, I'm going to have to wait to the M7.
Yeah, I mean, I was just playing around with the Air configurator just to see was it a more expensive device for what I wanted. It's actually a cheaper one than the M5 is versus the M4 for the configuration I chose.
Yeah. They're not bad. I would recommend it to anybody. I have to say, I wouldn't suggest that they are. If you're looking for a machine and thinking yourself, what shall I get? I'd say buy a Mac.
That's really now. Would you say that about the new one, the big announcement on the Wednesday?
Well, we'll come to that. Well,
we're at that now. We're at that now.
Well, I suppose we are, aren't we? Yeah. Well, I suppose I was about to say we have covered it. We've talked about the Air, haven't we? Talked about everything else. Yeah.
The Air hasn't changed. It's the same.
Basically the Air gives you just another chip, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. So they had the big live event. Well, not live to us, but live for people that have been invited in there on the Wednesday in New York, London, and we think Singapore. And they did.
And Keanu turned up?
Keanu turned up. He is the one. It's the MacBook Neo.
It is the Neo.
They've done it. They hit that $599 starting price. Some of the choices may be questionable. But some of them I was shocked by. There was talk in the past that we might be getting a plastic chassis like the old Macs, didn't we? But
there was talk of that, yeah.
It's an all aluminium chassis for $599. Now it does have the A18 Pro chip, doesn't it? Found from the same chip as what we've got in our phones in our 16 Pro, which does mean it comes with only 8 gig of RAM, and we'll come back to that one in a minute. But I still think you're getting a lot for your money. So you've got that unibody chassis. You get some nice colours. You've got blush, which is pink, indigo, silver, and citrus, which is very much yellow from the original the iPad OGs. Colour keyboards to match. It's not any portable. It's not like we were hoping, is it? It's not a nice 12-inch redo of the MacBook.
Yeah.
It's a different chassis from the Air, but not by much. It weighs the same, which I can't get my head around, considering it's got a phone sock in it rather than an M chip, and it's got a 30-something watt-hour battery rather than a 50. So where has the weight gone?
So this is a bit that really. So you're right. So look, I was been massively impressed that they were going to do this. I think you're right. The fact that all the other things came first, and then we got this launch on Wednesday. It had to be a new product, didn't it? And as you say, the chassis looks almost like a cut down chassis of almost in between the Air and the MacBook, isn't it? It's got elements of both. You've only got two USB-C ports on it, which is one is USB-C.
And they're not Thunderbolt, are they?
There's no USB-C 2 and USB-C
one USB 3 and one USB 2. Yeah.
And if you plug a display, and it can support one external display, if you plug that into the wrong port, it will tell you. Which is quite interesting. You got the colours. You say we've got silver, blush, citrus, and indigo. So indigo is similar to like a lighter version of the dark. Well, the same what we've got on ours, isn't it? The dark colour.
Yeah,
the space
exactly.
grey sort of.
Yeah.
Yellow though is interesting, and the keys should ask. Sorry, I meant to say the keys match as well, don't they? Which is
Yeah,
quite
so
cool.
it's a color matched keyboard, isn't it?
But to your point though, the performance. So you're right. You've got the A18, as you say, which according to Apple's press release, I got to call this out because I thought this was quite intriguing. They talk about it flying through everyday tasks, etc., etc., and they reckon this is Apple. I quote: 50% faster for everyday tasks like web browsing, and 3 times faster when running on a device AI workloads like applying advanced effects to photos, compared to the best-selling PC with the latest shipping Intel Core Ultra 5. So we don't tell you which hardware manufacturer it's coming from. So Dell, Lenovo, HP, insert there.
This is Apple,
and Intel Core Ultra 5. Yeah, but which version of the Ultra 5?
Yeah, which year, which model? It doesn't tell you a lot, does it?
No, it is a
the videos chip. I've seen, they said it's not as fast as an M chip running macOS.
No,
but it's for $599. It's sufficient enough, and I'll come back to the price in a minute because $599 is probably not the price you're actually going to pay.
No,
but other things that they have sacrificed to get you down to that. One, the chassis hasn't been sacrificed. The display seems just as good as the Air, but as you said, no Thunderbolt. You've got a weird mix of USB 2 and USB 3. Even though it's an iPhone, it's a phone SoC. We don't have cellular option, which I find odd because it's got to be in there. They haven't made a new SoC. The touchpad though isn't the haptic ones like you get on the new Macs. It's an old-fashioned mechanical one. There's no backlighting on the keyboard. So they've gone for a smaller battery, haven't they? But you're still probably going to get 16 hours of streaming video, 11 hours of web surfing on it. Storage, that was it. 256 base storage for $599. But bizarrely, you don't no Touch ID with that. If you want Touch ID, you're going to have to jump to the 512 gig one, aren't you? Which is $699. So $700 really, because you're going to want Touch ID. Sure.
I just feel that this is. It's not the device we're hoping for, but let's look at it another way. And I said to you, didn't I, in a message today, and this is the gateway drug to Apple. To use the terrible phrase, but this is how you get people into the Apple ecosystem.
This is Apple firing shots at low-end Windows laptops and Chromebooks, isn't it?
Well, yeah. This is. I mean, let's be honest. The performance of this is going to be better than any Chromebook.
Yeah. If you're in education,
yep,
and you're looking at Chromebooks or Windows, and because bear in mind, education get another $100, so it's starting at $499 for education. Would you buy a Chromebook or would you buy a Mac? Unless you were severely hampered on your budget, you'd be getting the Mac.
Yeah, we're definitely biased, so we'd say Mac. But the reality is, you're right. The performance on this is going to be much better than a Chromebook.
And the management.
You and I were thinking. I know you've got the Air, but just as I know you hadn't got it, but we were saying about using this as a kind of a travel one, and I was thinking, well, maybe I'd like a travel laptop. I don't think I'd do this. And I'd love to say, well, maybe I'd buy an Air, but specifically an Air would just be a lighter version of my MacBook. It's pointless, really. I'd rather,
That was it. We were looking at a lighter, smaller device as a travel companion, but this is not lighter or smaller.
No, it doesn't. It just doesn't help us either way. And I just think, Apple. You're right. Apple are aiming for the education market here. They're aiming, as you say, for the Chromebook market, and they're aiming also for people who think a MacBook is too much for them and too expensive. How do I get in? And somebody that's probably already got an iPhone, so they're used to the experience. And once you're in that, and I know, once you're in that ecosystem, it's hard to get out, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
And it's easy to move between them, And once you've got, you on there, and you log in with your iCloud account, and your photos are there, and you've got all that basic stuff. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But to your point, cost,
and that's what we said. That 8 gig of RAM, is that going to cause a problem? Apple have spent many years trying to move everything to 16 gig base to then bring out a product with 8 gig of RAM. But I understand why they can't go
that
higher
iPad's
than that.
got 12.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the A18 Pro chip, does it, though?
No, true. Okay, fair point.
I imagine they have a large stockpile of these A18 Pro chips. And this is why they're getting rid of them here. They can't do it. I think maybe a Mark II version of this that might run maybe what we're on now, A19, so an A20 from this year, which is chances are it's going to have 12 gig of RAM. Maybe we will see that in the next iteration of the MacBook Neo.
Maybe we will, and maybe they've gone for 8 gig to try and cut down the costs as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they already have the chips and design there, redesign to put more RAM in would be added cost, especially nowadays. Yeah. So I think it's good. I think it fits the market, but we're not the demographic they're targeting.
I agree with you. I'm going to be in San Francisco in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to go have a look at one. I'll see if I get some pictures and thoughts on it. But yeah, I'm just part of me is just a bit like,
But yeah, I mean, look, I get to a point where my kids, they're getting out at the point. My oldest son, he will be starting his A-level soon and going to college, and he's going to need a laptop. This might be it. It might not. I'm in two minds. I could look at this, but I can also go and get an M3 MacBook Air for the same price. Refurbished, I should say. Refurbished or second-hand used. Which will be a much better proposition for him. Okay, it's not brand new, cellophane to shiny and funky colours, but it'll be a much faster machine with 16 gig of RAM.
Yeah, absolutely, and better longevity for him, definitely.
Yeah, so I think he's quite keen on this, but he's probably not going to get this one. He'll probably get an M3 Air.
Well, I don't know. I think the M3 is probably a better proposition, but that's me.
But it doesn't come in funky colours. He quite likes the funky colours.
Right, well,
we'll have that chat, I'm sure.
I'm sure you can wrap it.
Yeah, I'll give him my M4 Air and just buy myself a new one. No, that's too much money.
All right, so there you go then. So that was all of the products that Apple released this week. I think, let's be honest, a bit of a blitz, as they say, in terms of hardware announcements. Nothing, as I say, apart from the Neo, I think everything else was pretty much what we thought was coming down the line.
It was, yeah. I mean, I'm colours about the 17E having a new chassis design or not, but it didn't.
No, and the colours on the Neo leave a little bit to the side. But let's be honest, it's not aimed at enterprise. It's not aimed at professionals, which is wrong because let's be honest, most professionals would probably like a bit of colour. To be fair, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah.
But it is a new product, and Apple have done the unthinkable, as you say, and got a device under $600. Though you won't be paying $600 because if you want more storage. But fair play to them. I take my hat off. I look forward to, as you say, some of the reviews coming out that will be likely to give us performance. Or most of these products, by the way, will be available from March the 11th.
Yes,
which is a Wednesday, weirdly.
Pre-order already.
Rather than Friday. So we'll be seeing, I'm sure, within the next week or so when we go to record our next episode, that we should hopefully get some news on what's happening and whether people have been, saying how good they are or don't buy it. Who knows?
Or not. Or run.
But there you go. Yeah. Right, before we finish out, we've got a couple of stories to close out on. So let's talk about this new Nvidia PC processor, which, could be a game changer, could be not, maybe.
Could be. So we've talked a couple of times about this, haven't we? The N1X chip before, haven't we? Well, apparently, a chip analyst site called Chips and Cheese has done a deep dive into the GB10 super chip, the one in the little portable AI, well, not portable, the desktop AI systems that people are selling. Jensen Hung himself has confirmed this is the basis for the upcoming N1X PC processor. So, like I say, they've been doing this deep analysis into what makes it and how that performs. So they were saying that the cores inside the GB10, these are these ARM Cortex X925 cores, licensed from ARM, used by Nvidia. And they're saying that the X95 in it achieves performance parity with AMD's Zen 5 and Intel's Lion Cove in the fastest desktop implementations, which is quite pretty an achievement, isn't it? Especially since this is an ARM chip and it's only running at 4 gigahertz, while the others are all running at 5 gigahertz plus, and they're desktop, and this is meant to be a laptop chip. That's remarkable. If that is
true. It is. That's
Although they're saying that the GB10 super chip it's a desktop chassis. Is that going to be using more memory? So is that going to be less performant when it's running on a battery in a laptop with a smaller power envelope?
Well, that's what we typically see, isn't it? A step down to preserve battery life as opposed to performance, really, isn't it? So.
Yeah, and I think that the same goes for this. It's got what 6,144 CUDA cores, which is about the equivalent of an RTX 5070. Will we see that in a laptop configuration? Have a desktop class RTX 5070?
I'll take it.
I mean, given the same performance, but in a laptop, I only don't think so. Yes, it's the basis for it, but to actually make your battery last, I think sacrifices are going to be made.
How long do you want that to run in? It's like runs for 3 minutes.
Desktop class on the road for 5 minutes. And the other elephant in the room is this is ARM. Windows, and especially around gaming, if we're talking about games, is predominantly x86. So there has to be some translation. And while things have moved on massively, Apple's done a remarkable job with Rosetta and Rosetta 2, isn't it? Valve with the Proton team have done a remarkable job with Linux. The Windows implementation, I don't think is such a good job. There is a definite hit.
I agree.
That doesn't mean to say, look, if this thing takes off, and maybe it's got enough grunt to overcome that limitation, then we get more and more, see more movies out in the real world, and game developers start compiling for ARM as well, and then that's not a problem anymore.
No, I think if you look at the market at the minute, as you say, the emulation piece is key, isn't it? And what's it? Qualcomm and their Snapdragon X's have got dedicated x86 emulation on the, I can't pronounce it. Is it Orion or Orion? I want to say Orion, but I think it's Orion.
Orion.
CPU core. But that's still, it's good, but it's still not. It's still not parity, I would argue, is it?
No, it's not. I think it will get there. And apparently, Nvidia can't release it anyway yet because the Windows 11 26H1 has been delayed, and that's got all the code in it to support the chip. So we are waiting on Microsoft.
We could be here sometime, but.
We could be. But look, laptops are supposedly arriving from Dell, Lenovo, and Alienware, and Legion. Dell's Alienware and Lenovo's Legion models will be the first ones out with this one. Kind of expecting to hear a bit more, probably in a couple of weeks, March the 16th at Nvidia's GTC.
Well, let's see what happens there. I'm curious to see the feedback on it. Talking of Nvidia, by the way, just on a side note, did you see that announcement from Jensen Huang saying that their recent investments in OpenAI and Anthropic are likely to be the last they do in both of them,
and also a lot less.
Yeah,
because they were touting around 100 billion into OpenAI, weren't they, and jacking up all those stock prices, and now it's allegedly 30 billion instead.
Yeah.
That's There's a big difference.
It is a big difference. He downplayed apparently that there was bad blood between the companies. Their words, not ours, as nonsense, and. Saying that as they're looking to go public later this year, the opportunity to invest is closing. But I wonder whether there's a bigger picture going on here, don't you think? I think there's more going on here in that, there's a whole thing, isn't there, around Anthropic and the US military.
And OpenAI in the US military, yes.
Yeah. But Anthropic said that they were basically they complained about the use of their products in military systems.
In war, yeah.
And it turned out that the US military, unsubstantiated, has been using Claude for battle damage analysis and bombing run analysis, to which obviously, is unhappy. Yet at the same time, we've got rumours that Palantir have been told to remove Anthropic from their products as well, which they've got large government contracts. And of course, OpenAI, Sam Altman's kind of gone the other way and gone, well, if they're using it...
Don't really have a problem with that if you're paying?
No, whereas before, early doors, when the company was pretty new, he was against all that stuff, wasn't he? I guess how many
he's changed all the company to get rid of that, hasn't he? That kind of be good mantra.
That's the key point. The dollar signs are there, aren't they? But there you go. Anyway, I do digress. Right, let's close out the last story of the week. So Project Helix, then, which is this new Xbox coming for them.
Yeah, so as you mentioned at the start, this was by a new... is it CEO of the gaming division?
Yeah, I think they're calling her CEO, aren't they? Yeah.
CEO. So Sharma, she posted on X, confirmed the codename for the project. It's Project Helix, and in her words, Project Helix will lead in performance and play your Xbox and PC games. And she went saying they'll be discussing it more at GDC on March the 9th. So what's that?
Next
Sunday
week?
night? Monday. But yeah, Xbox and PC. And look, what have we been talking about for quite a while now? We've been talking about this, like the Windows with the game mode, didn't we? Is that precursor to the next Xbox really just being a Windows PC booting into game mode? I think it is. I think your Xbox is just a PC with game mode and some special code to emulate any unique features of the Xbox. Because the Xbox is just running x86, isn't it? And a Windows core.
Absolutely.
So it's basically already a PC. They've just hidden all that stuff away and it's stripped down. So yeah, I think it's just this evolution of this gaming mode where it boots straight into with a load of services disabled in a full screen user interface, like you're getting on the new Asus ROG X Ally or whatever it's called.
I just wonder, like you say, is this, is it an Xbox or is it a PC? Well, it's neither. It's basically it's a PC in sheep's clothing, and it's in some respect, is it any different to the Steam machine? Really, I don't think it is it? In that sense, Steam aren't hiding, isn't it? The Steam have basically built a Linux PC, haven't they? Really?
Yeah.
Or Valve have, I should say. Sorry,
I think that does this go along with this Xbox mantra about Xbox Anywhere, doesn't it? So can I just turn my gaming PC into an Xbox now?
Well, perhaps you
will I be able to play my Xbox games on my PC if I switch to gaming mode?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at the Xbox app on the PC now, when you log into it, if you've got Steam or other stuff installed, it shows all those games in the library now. I don't think you probably noticed that as well, but so they are moving, like you say here, to that. My only point would be here is why would I buy this over a PC?
Well, I suspect this was going to be. Will it be subsidized like the Xbox? Is it going to be a cheaper entry into it? It's not going to be running Nvidia hardware. AMD have already confirmed that it's working on Microsoft next Xbox, so it's going to be AMD semi-custom SOC kind of thing, well integrated. And maybe to get the same performance on a PC, you're going to need a more beefier, expensive PC because it's not so customized to that specific hardware. But that specific hardware will play your PC games probably okay.
And the other point I'd argue here is around the storage on it, because if you think about, like, you and I, we've got about 3 terabytes, 4 terabytes minimum, haven't we, on our gaming on our PC?
4 or 5 sitting in a gaming PC, yep.
Right,
because super fast SSDs.
Let's think about, just take Flight Sim. Fully installed could be close to 200 gig, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, my one on the Flight Sim 2020, I was about 500 gig on that one.
Yeah.
It's a lot better on the new version.
It's a lot of storage. It's a lot of storage, isn't it? And my worry here is that the worry here is definitely, how does that fit with this? Are we going to end up with like 1 terabyte of storage on it, which is like, well, that's not going to, the way games are going, that's not
those very expensive storage cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. A lot of details. I think maybe we're going to hear more about this at this event on Monday. So I'll chuck that in the calendar to watch, or maybe we'll give you an update next week when we hear anything more.
Definitely, I think that's one thing we need to follow up on, and we will have that in the show notes for next week, of course. Yeah. But I don't know about you. I've got more questions than I'm getting.
I'm intrigued.
One statement.
Very massively intrigued at where this is going.
Massively, yeah.
Well, yeah. I probably won't buy the next Xbox console, I will be honest. But if I could play my Xbox games, my back catalog on my PC as well, that'd be quite cool.
Yeah, I think
all my kids could play my PC games on their Xbox, but not that it's going to be backwards compatible with the older Xboxes. But or if they go off to university, I just need to buy on one device; it'll play everything. I don't know. You're right. There are a lot of questions going on here.
A lot of questions. Yeah, absolutely. Right, well, I think it's probably a good place for us to wrap up for today, and we'll be back next week with all the news from GDC, as you say. Hopefully, with some of the early reviews on the new Apple product, particularly the Neo, if somebody's got their hands on one by the time we go to press next week, and any of the latest information coming out from the world of tech, including some of my thoughts on NWC from this past week as well. I'm still crunching those through at the minute. But let me tell you something: if I had had a pound or a dollar or a peso, not peso, dollar or a pound for every time I saw the words AI, I tell you, I could have retired at lunchtime on the first day. But anyway,
very rich man.
That being a very rich man. So that being that. So of course you can find all our show notes information at techrant.online. We're of course on Blue Sky and on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast from. Do let your friends know. We'd love to have your feedback and tell us what we're getting wrong or what you like. With that, I've been Jay.
I've been Karl. Have a good one all.